What's the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Wilton, joined by Sergeant Wilton. Clint, how are you?
I'm excellent.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about the what ifs. What if today is the day that something goes wrong? The other day, you and I were having we have like this 4-way conversation sometimes with our best friends. It's usually late at night when we're all getting ready to go to bed. And, you know, they'll be on speakerphone, we'll be on speakerphone, and we all just kind of talk together. And we're getting ready to go to the police memorial in DC. And of course, we have somebody who always stays at our house while we're gone. And so I just asked, like, hey, if there's an emergency and she can't come for some reason, is it okay if you guys come and live at our house? And I was like, I don't know why we haven't given you guys a house key yet, right? Like, these are the people that we trust with everything, which we trust with our whole house and our animals. And so it got me thinking about how important it is for us to be able to understand that this particular mindset, I think, is something that's normal, but there's a lot of ways for us to be able to balance out tactical readiness and mental clarity so that you can stay sharp without becoming consumed with those worst case scenario thinking.
Yeah, I run my guys through scenarios all the time and thinking about the what ifs. Well, what if this, or doing the if this, then that, and running through these incidents, these kind of stories in your head of, well, how would I react to this situation? And then throw yourself curveballs all the time and being able to adapt and overcome whatever it may be to where you can run through thousands of scenarios in your brain before in minutes times. Like, being able to do that is, you can really address those issues before they even become issues.
I definitely struggle with a lot of this. I think that those what if mindsets can often become super mentally draining, and I find myself in that negative spiral sometimes. So an example might be that you struggle to relax even if you're at home. So let's say that you not only sit with your back to the wall at restaurants, but you also do that when you go to family gatherings. You're constantly checking your surroundings, even at those family events. It can make it really difficult for you to ever feel safe or even fully present with the people that you love.
Yeah, being able to have a healthy relationship with the what if scenarios is it's important to have it, but being able to shut it off at the same time is just as important, because if you're always running on that hypervigilance, that what if scenario mindset, then you're going to be mentally and physically exhausted all the time.
As you listen to this, I'm going to assume that this applies to you too, because in our Police, Fire, Military, and Families Facebook group, this is the number one, I would say, trigger or red flag or whatever you want to call it that I see on a constant basis. And that is that you expect the worst from everyone.
Having that sense of cynicism towards people in general is one of those things that over time, you start expecting the worst of everybody, and it becomes harder to expect the best out of somebody if you're always looking for the worst in somebody.
Yeah, and you might assume that every stranger is a threat, or that no one outside your profession can be trusted, but really what this does is it builds this unnecessary emotional wall, and then it deepens that level of isolation. And another thing is that you might overanalyze every single scenario. So mentally, you're running through tactical plans just to walk into a store or to pump your gas. I definitely do this. I'm thinking about a time when you and I went to, my parents had a house in Arizona, and it was crazy because I think we were talking about this out loud where, positioning the firearm and then where our focal point was sleeping in the bed, because this was an unfamiliar situation. We're in that house by ourselves, and just kind of cross-referencing worst case scenarios. Like if somebody comes in, like, here's the gun, here's the perfect shot kind of situation. And the very next day after we left that house, somebody broke into it.
Yeah, it was one of those situations like, wow.
They got lucky.
Yeah, exactly. And we're like, man, could you imagine if they were there? Like, they would have been done.
And the crazy thing, it was kids.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where, I think in the what if mindset, you always prepare for, okay, if this, then that. but you don't bring in the human nature side of things of like, okay, well, it was a 13-year-old kid who broke into the house, and now what are the repercussions on having to handle with what you did in that instance?
Another example might be that you react really strongly to minor stressors. So a slight change in plans or the tone of somebody's voice might set you off because your nervous system is always on edge. And of course, this can do things like strain relationships or even worsen your mental fatigue.
And not only that, like you can set your pathway for the day to have a negative annotation because of that one minuscule incident that's just showing something else bigger than what specifically happened went wrong.
Another example is maybe you feel guilty when you're not on all of the time. So you're feeling like you're being selfish or unprepared when you're just taking a day off or just trying to enjoy something that's not tactical. I think really this helps to kind of contribute to not being able to recover, and it can also add to that long-term burnout.
Having a balance of having that turned on, that what if scenario mindset in your head turned on, and then shutting it off and with intention. If anything you do, when you do it with intention, it becomes easier to control. That should never run your life. You should run your own life.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because there's a lot of strategies to help us to stay prepared without letting totally go of that what if. And I think that scheduling downtime is really important, just like you schedule your time on duty. So building in time where you deliberately power down. No phones, no calls, no scanning. Even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes every single day, believe it or not, it will help to be able to reset your brain.
Having that downtime is going to, like Ashley said, shut down your brain, being able to completely, it's almost like, and I've used this example before, as you're playing a video game and you're getting stuck in this one spot and you're spending hours, but you can't pass that one spot. Well, you turn off the game and you come back to it 20, 30 minutes later and you start playing it and you pass that one spot that you spent hours on trying to pass. And then you're like, why was I having so much problems with that?
If you truly think about and understand what I'm about to say, then you'll realize that it's probably one of the most important things that you can use to be able to live your life by. And that is that your body doesn't know the difference between imagined threats and real ones. So you can use things like tactical breathing to be able to recenter. Breathwork can really help you to be able to calm your nervous system in those moments of hypervigilance.
Yeah, being able to when you're involved in that what if scenario and you're going through it and your vigilance is up and your heightened awareness is there and you're able to control your physiological reaction to that, when that incident actually comes to light and you're able to control your movements, your breathing, everything with it, like you're practicing for that instance.
I've never heard anybody talk about discipline with your mental health.
No.
So you can and should set boundaries with your thoughts. So if you catch yourself in that spiral, you can say something like, that's not actually happening right now, right?
Yeah.
And set a hard boundary. I'm not going to start scanning, or have a go-to thought, right? Think about your dog's face to where you can kind of reset things in that exact start motion.
I think we fail as humans in general as having that discipline for ourselves and being able to draw those lines, like we give ourselves excuses to why we can't do something or why we can do something or why we're reacting to something, and being able to say, hey, I actually control this. I control my brain. Why am I letting the brain control me?
You can also ground yourself in your environment by using the easiest tool that's available to you, which is the ones that hopefully you carry all of them. I don't know, post-COVID, some of us are missing one or two of them, but that is to use your 5 senses to be able to bring awareness to the current moment.
Yeah, being in that moment, using and I think this is something that Ashley and I start with every day, is having our morning cup of coffee. Like that's where, in my mind, I use that time not only to share time and space with Ashley, but to enhance just my system, to be able to taste the coffee, to smell it, to feel the warmth, to use all of my senses and it sounds like something so minuscule, but that's almost like that reset button for me every day after I wake up.
I think too, it's important to just trust your training and let that be enough. So you've literally trained for the worst. You don't need to sit there and rehearse every single disaster in your head in order to be ready. Just trust that your skills are going to show up when they're needed.
Yeah, I know of some of my partners, they play in briefing every day. They'll play an officer involved shooting video. They'll play these videos of the what ifs, right? And it's good to do those videos and to have experiences like that, but it shouldn't be every day. You should almost have different types of scenarios, whether it's that major incident or it's something to, hey, this is kind of funny, let's watch it.
Not only that, but something that has made me a much more, I mean, gave me like a warrior mentality more than anything else is not the fire safety, not like holding a gun, carrying a gun, a CC. It's not that at all. The thing that makes me feel safer than anybody else around me is my discipline and my ability to be able to ground myself in the moment, to be able to truly like a lion getting ready to catch something, like that incredible focus and that incredible clarity that comes with the ability of grounding yourself. So, I mean, if those officers were wise, they would have some variance in that type of content that they're consuming and understand that, these type of real life scenarios are not the tell all be all.
Yeah.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below. And as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.